TAQ Capital, technical analysis quickly.
This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Before taking any action based on the information provided on this channel, it is recommended that you seek the advice of a professional licensed financial advisor.
Let's do this.
All right, welcome back everyone. Let's talk about this Bitcoin bloodbath. If I turn on all of my symbols here, we'll see the Fibonacci circles, which are these green lines that are forming circles. The gray ones are the Fibonacci channels. And as I've been saying for a while now, Bitcoin has been calling for a major pullback, and that's because we've had the space between the Tenkin and the Kijin on the Ichimoku cloud, and that's really all you need to know that we're going to be coming down. But we've also got the wedges that are saying the same thing. We have our classic 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're waiting for a breakdown and out. Now this carried on for so long that when the bubble popped, we knew it was going to be a big one. But even this seems a little bit bigger than I expected as far as the speed of it. But yeah, I fully expected a major breakdown. Now you'll also see that it was timed nicely with breaking through this circle here. So this candle kind of rode the circle up, and we broke through and then came crashing down. And now it's being caught by this circle, but we've started our new 20-hour candle on the other side of the circle. So it's possible that this ends up coming back in, and then when we're looking at the daily, it'll just end up looking like a wick across the circle. But there's nowhere really for it to go. It's not going to turn up and go up here. There's nothing calling for that. We've completed the blue wedge, so this is as good as done. We can go break up out of it or down out of it. So chances are it's going to be down out of it. And we're in the white wedge now where we've got our 1, 2, 3, and now we've got to have a 4 somewhere down here. So what does this mean? Now we're going to be breaking out of this fib circle. I think it's all downside from here. Now it might be, more like this. When we hit the circle, we might even try riding it up for a second, break through, and then come crashing down some more. Because like I said, I think we're headed to the $10,000, maybe $8,000 range. You'll also see that we have Fib channels in here, so this could, break down, get caught, ride this down a little bit before we break down through that. Get caught on this one, ride this down a little bit, then ride up the Fib circle for a second, and then break through that, and then come crashing back down to this, crashing back down to this, and just keep going. Because we know we're not going to do a straight move, period. We're going to have some zigzag back and forth. So let's zoom in on this candle here, and let's see if we can get any form of a wedge that's giving us any ideas from a timing standpoint. Okay, this is the 4-hour chart. We can take this as a 1, 2, 3, and then there's a 4 breakout. If you zoom into the 1-hour chart, you can see the pink line crosses right there. So this came down, caught it, and while I guess you could count that as a bounce, a little wick on the next one, we then have been going down since then. The red wedge that we're looking at here is something that I've created off of like the 5 or 10 minute chart, because you've got to zoom way in, and then you can see that we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're working on our breakout right now. It's a pathetic breakout, but all it means is you're breaking out the right side of the wedge. So we broke out this side, which is technically up, but that doesn't mean we've got to go up. Now we can start a whole new wedge and see where we go from there. And it might just simply be redrawing this one where we have moved it out now. So now we've got 1, 2, this has become 3. And now we could do something like this, or 4 is way down here. And then we end up breaking out like something like that. So it's too early to tell. The meltdown is too fast. It's too real. We just have to wait to see how this unfolds. And as I've said before, chasing after major moves like this could be very dangerous. Like if you hop into a short right now, yeah, we could go down, but that's gambling. That's, playing roulette. You want to have the move come to you. You want to see it unfold and then set your buy-in and time it perfectly. And that's how you're going to get ahead. So patience, hang in there. If we look at the Ichimoku cloud, the Bollinger Bands here, you can see that we haven't quite hit on the 7-hour. So we don't have a 7-hour reset in yet. We have a 6-hour reset in, and you can see that the candle is being caught by the band. If we look at the 8-hour, we're nowhere near a reset. Now, I think we're going to end up getting that reset. Yeah, we came way out over here. We came way out over here. So now we're due for a way out over here. But this is probably going to be tomorrow, possibly even the next day. But at the speed of this, I would say tomorrow. Plus the fact that we don't have the ring catching us anymore. So it's looking more like tomorrow. We are now also breaking down out of the orange wedge that we were in right before the big run. So you're catching some support here on the ring, here on the wedge, and then on the 6-hour Bollinger Band. So we might get a little spring back here for a minute, as we're just breaking out of that red wedge on the 1 hour. Or sorry, no, we zoomed in on the 10-minute to see that here. So we could get, manage to get over the Tenkin here, get pulled up to the Kijin, and then go through and do a 10-minute reset and end up getting up, above the 21,000 mark. But then I think we're going to be looking at more downside. And like I said, at that point, if this 21,000 mark is where we're headed, then we would just reshape the wedge to something like this, where you have the hit here, and then this would be our next hit, and then we have our next hit, and then we do a breakup out of it. So I think we're going to break back up and probably retest the orange wedge as resistance, and then come back down again. Because if you carry this red wedge out, we would be breaking up out of the red wedge, getting rejected by the orange, and coming back down again. We can jump down to the 1-minute chart to see what we can draw here off the last bounce within the red wedge, just to see if this bounce is going to be a significant one or not. So this is that red wedge, but zooming in more so on the yellow wedge, which is the bounce, this is the breakout that we just did on the red wedge. But what is the breakout really looking like? Well, according to, this is the 1 minute, so you really can't look at the Ichimoku cloud. It's nonsense. When you look back at it, it makes sense. We had this giant space and it pulled the candles down in, but as this forms, like the green is up above the red right now, this can change in the blink of an eye because it's only the 1-minute chart, so you can't really look at that. The Bollinger Bands will give you some idea of what you're working with, but unless you can't really look at the different time frames. So like this is the 3-minute, for instance. The Ichimoku cloud is calling for the candles to come down to the Kijin, but again, it can change in the blink of an eye. We had a 1, 2, 3, 4 on the yellow and broke down out of the yellow. So are we going to redraw the yellow like this and have a 1, 2, 3, and then coming up for a 4? So this would end up getting moved up to something like this. So we'd go from here to there and break down and out. So either way, because we're headed back to the orange resistance and we're headed back to the circle resistance, I don't see us going back above the 20,800 mark on this run, which would have it actually being drawn way the heck up here. And you can see now we're even coming down a little bit more. So this is actually unfolding. So wherever this ends up, maybe it ends up way down here. And then we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, and then break down and out. And again, I don't know where the bottom is on this fall, but I think we just saw, one of our last decent runs here before the end of the year. But we'll see, and I'll check back in on Instagram and so on throughout the day if anything substantial happens. And if I turn off the Ichimoku cloud and the Bollinger Bands and you just take a brief look around here, you can see how well respected the Fibonacci circles have been on Bitcoin. And this is the 9-hour, but if we jump down more to like the 4-hour, you see it even more so. So if we, walk it back here a bit, we can see that, we were operating here between these two lines. We broke out of it for a second and then came right back in. And then we went under it, and we were under it for a minute, then we broke out of it. And we even rode up this other circle here. And then came down, back up, tested, broke through it again, stayed above the circle, broke down underneath it, shot above it, caught 3 candles there, caught by this other Fibonacci circle, rode up resistance, then we came through it and we rode up this circle as support, fell down, support, fell down, through it, came over, support, couldn't hold it, fell through it, we got support on this ring, fell through it again, got resistance, broke up through it, support. So you can see it, we even rode up the ring right there, then we came through, dropped down through 2 circles, and then found support on this one, And then once we broke through it, we tried to break back up above it. Couldn't. It was too much resistance. Drop down, support, up, resistance, down, support. And then once we fell through it, we had a whole bunch of resistance. Fell down to this one, had a whole bunch of support. Fell down underneath it, had a bunch of resistance. Fell down again. And we rode this one up until we shot straight up. Came across, broke through the circle, couldn't hold it, fell down. And now we're finding support on this circle. So you can see how the circles really do form a structure for the candles. And if I zoom out to the 4-day, you can see how far back these go. I know this looks like total gibberish because I'm really scrunched together and I'm on the 4-day. But this goes all the way back to, the runs back here. So you can see here, once we broke out back here, through the circle we took off, came crashing back down, went through the circle line, came crashing back down, broke up through the circle, then went up. And you can continue as I zoom out here, but now we're getting into this cluster. But dropping down to the daily and looking at the run back here in 2021, from there to there, resistance, there to there, resistance, there to there. We had a couple resistance. And then once we broke through this one, we ended up running down the circle between the two lines. Managed to break up through here, shot up straight to the next one, found resistance, and then shot through two, got rejected, and hung out between these two for a minute. And you can see, here, rode the circle down. Here, rode the circle down. Once we broke through here, we went straight, had some consolidation because of this ring, and then came crashing down, hit another ring, found support, then rode this ring in as support. But you get the point. They're acting as very key support and resistance levels. So I'm going to end the video here. I'd say sit tight and wait for something to actually unfold. For those of you wondering, yes, it is true. You could now technically draw the purple down here, and you would have a sideways broadening wedge, whether 1, 2, 3, 4. But this wouldn't tell us anything because we can still break down or we can break up. So we're going to have a bounce break down, or we're going to come all the way back up and have a breakout. Now, this is very unlikely. I think we have a lot more downside. So I think even if you want to count this like this, you have a bounce and a breakout by it. But by going off of the Bollinger Bands, I would say we're looking at a 7-hour reset. Then we'll get a little bit of a bounce. We might even retest the ring here, or retest the orange. So we might wick through the orange, hit the ring, get rejected, and then it's going to be more downside. I don't think we're going to have some wicked bounce that's going to bring us back into the 21.5s or anything like that. But we'll see. And if you found this video helpful, like, share, and subscribe. And of course, sign up to my other socials down below, where I will post more timely updates because there's a heck of a lot easier to do. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great day out there and be safe.